the important topic of healing and empowering women and children who are victims of domestic violence, acid attack, trauma, and the mental health. It is a current topic because we are debating in this month of March, which is internationally devoted to the sensitization on women issues around the world. Before elaborating further on this topic, I wish to express my sincere thanks and that of the African Women's Solidarity for Development USA to Ambassador Antonio Tete of the African Union for his instrumental support and the collaboration in ensuring that we hold this event. His commitment to the cause of women and children is much appreciated. Ladies and gentlemen, available information indicates that domestic violence and the abuse against women and children is well documented, analyzed, and narrated by UN Women, well-established organizations such as UNICEF, WHO, and the World Bank, NGOs, and the national institution. It takes many different forms, the most common of which encompass rape, forced marriage, female genital mutilation, sexual exploitation, prostitution, and the trafficking crime committed in the name of honor and the acid attack. Domestic violence and abuse against women happen in acts of physical violence, including slapping, hitting, kicking, and the beating. It also takes the form of emotional abuse, such as insult, belittling, constant humiliation, intimidation, threat of harm, threat to take away children, controlling behaviors. With respect to children, domestic violence and abuse generally leads in physical, psychological, emotional, and the sexual abuse, child labor, neglect with abandonment, exploitation, including child trafficking, child pornography, prostitution, early marriage, and the sex tourism. Domestic violence against women has the scope of a common and universal phenomenon. Around the world, at least one in every 3 women has been beaten, caused into sex, or otherwise abused during her lifetime. Data collected suggests that the rate of violence against women ranges from 15 to 71% in some countries, and that rate of violence against children top 80%, nearly 1 billion countries, and that rate of violence against children, 1 million women will experience intimate partner violence or non-partner sexual violence in their lifetime. Globally, intimate partner accounted for 38% of murder of women. Around 120 million girls under the age of 20, about 1 in 10 were reported in 2012, have been subject to forced sexual intercourse of other forced sexual acts at some point in their life. WHO and UNICEF state in their 2016 report that at least 200 million girls and women worldwide have experienced female genital mutilation, which is mostly practiced in Africa, the Middle East, and Asia. With respect to children, information available suggests that 40 million children worldwide are subject to abuse each year. Homicide and suicide are the leading cause of death among adolescents. Every year, between 500 million and 1.5 billion children worldwide under some form of violence, some estimate, and child maltreatment indicate that nearly a quarter of adults, to 22.6% worldwide, suffer physical abuse as a child. 36.3% experience emotional abuse, and the 16.3% experience physical neglect. National surveys of violence against children conducted in Africa reveal much higher rate in childhood physical, sexual, and emotional abuse than the global rate. Key to ending the scourge of domestic violence and abuse is prevention. Well-designed prevention and response programs to domestic violence and abuse are needed in each country of the world, nationally, at the region or state levels. These programs must include primary prevention. In other words, stopping domestic violence and abuse from happening. Primary prevention strategy and the program that can be evolved and put in place are those which combine economic empowerment of women in the gender equality training, promote communication in the relationship skills within couple and community, reduce access to and the harmful use of alcohol, change cultural gender norms to achieve lasting change. It is important to enact legislation and the development policy that address discrimination against women, promote gender equality, support women, and help to move toward more peaceful cultural norms. In this respect, key legal instruments have been adopted at the global level in the framework of the United Nations and at the regional level by organizations such as the African Union, the European Union, that serve a legal benchmark and have been instrumental in bringing about change in attitude. Domestic violence and abuse against women and the children is no more regarded as a private matter committed with widespread impunity, but is treated as an issue of public concern. Domestic violence and the abuse against women and the children is a violation of human rights. As such, states have an obligation to take a preventive step and a punitive step where right violation by private sector happen. Many governments around the world have made a commitment to address domestic violation and the abuse against women and children. Australia is one prominent example of a country which is committed to zero tolerance approach to domestic violence and the sexual abuse against women and their children under its national plan. This country has undertaken the following: 1, a public campaign aimed at encouraging young people to develop a respectful relationship and education project being implemented in every state and the territory in the school, and the no grant to support local community action to reduce violence against women for the sport team, to establish a zero tolerance program in local club. Two, a white ribbon workplace project to promote safe workplace to women and the safe at home, safe at work toolkit for workers experiencing domestic violence. 4, sexual, actual, and domestic and family violence, telephone and the online counseling service. 5, program to train health, lead health and the individuals, health workers to recognize and respond to domestic violence and the abuse. This gives a glimpse of what can be done at a country level to heal and the empowerment of women and the children who are victims of domestic violence and the abuse. I thank you for your keen attention.
Thank you. Thank you, Pulcherie, for that.